Welcome to Shadow Empire Academy. Today you will learn how to design aircraft units and use them for different roles on the battlefield. I will explain you how to create good aircraft models using blueprints and how to set up aircraft design to achieve the best statistics for each of the available roles. And for that, we'll learn also how the planetary conditions are affecting our designs, especially the gravity and atmospheric density. So let's start. I have started on tech level 5, that's why I have more advanced air units from the first round, and it will be easier for me to show you different kind of air forces. So in our manage types, you can see that I already have light helicopters, ultralight aircraft, and medium aircraft. So I can still discover light topter, medium helicopter, heavy aircraft. And in our technology tree, we already have some applied engineering technologies like better aerodynamic for our units, better aircraft design. And here you can see that we have jet engine and also topter wings. That's why we can have topters. But still we need to discover missiles to have better fighters. And let's quickly check our existing models. So we have here our basic ultralight Recon unit, and here light aircraft fighter, and here medium aircraft tactical bomber and helicopter. So to check what's the role of each of the unit, you need to simply click on the image, and here on the bottom right corner there is role description. So we know that this is the Recon unit, and in case of that airplane, if we click, we can see that this is the fighter unit, and this one is tactical bomber. It's important to understand that the role, it's not only a description, but it affects three elements in the game. So if we design a new aircraft, and here we decide what's the role, and if you click here, nothing changed, doesn't affect any statistics, so it might feel like a bit strange section, but in reality it's quite important because this decision here affects the altitude on which the unit will operate, and transport and level bombers are operating on the high altitude and the rest on the low altitude. This is important if ground units can shoot to our airplanes. So it will be hard to heavy machine gun infantry to shoot to level bomber, but if they have big anti-aircraft unit, then they can shoot to high altitude units. And this decision also affects if the unit will engage into the dogfight or will avoid the dogfight. So fighters are engaging the dogfight and fighter bomber, but the rest of the units will try to avoid any dogfight. So you can say that there is no difference between Recon and tactical bomber because they both operate on low altitude and they avoid dogfighting. But there's third element important for this decision that we here decide what's the formation type for our units, because any new model created for a specific role also creates a formation. So if we go to the reports and overviews and formation types overview, here we can find some formations like Recon Air Wing or Fighter Air Wing or Fighter Bomber Air Wing. So do you see the names? Those are the roles that we selected. So the role selection means what's the formation type, and we can have different type of models that will be included in the formation type. So later, when we raise a new formation, we will be able to create a Recon wing or fighter wing, which is constructed with different models. So I don't need to use only the Phoenix fighter, but I can use any model that has the role fighter, and you can match different kind of models inside one wing unit. This is quite important to understand. So let's go back for a moment here. So we know that the roles are affecting altitude, dogfight engagement, and the formation type, and we can find the role here in the unit card. And for each role, some attributes visible here are more important and some less important. So for tactical bomber, the most important is what's their soft or hard attack. And this statistic is important for fighter role. But for tactical bomber, even if we have quite high air attack, which as you can see, it's split between low flying aircraft and high flying aircraft, and usually it's the same number, but for anti-aircraft units it can be different. So why it's not important for tactical bomber? Because it does not try to engage into the dogfight, and because this low dogfight will be a huge modifier for this number. So in our case, if we switch to the air design tab, we can see more air-related statistics, and you can see here the dogfight is 16, but our fighter has dogfight 36, so more than 2 times higher. So if our tactical bomber would engage into the dogfight with this fighter, even if we have 2 times higher the air attack, the dogfight difference will modify our attack by 50% because we have 2 times lower dogfight than our opponent. So our attack would be reduced to about 80 points. So in reality, we would have even less air attack than the fighter. So that's why for role fighter, very important is dogfight. And for recon role, important is recon. So how much recon points we can generate per each subunit in the hex where we perform recon mission. And for other units, like in this case, this helicopter has a role transporter, but it can also have a role fighter. And then you can mix this helicopter and fighter in one unit. But in this case, the transporter, for this role, the most important is carry. So how many logistical points we can provide in one subunit. And it's used if you are doing Airbridge missions. Also, you can see size, and size is affecting something called airbase points. So if we hide our units by pressing 1 on the keyboard, we can see the icon of the airbase. And if we switch to assets in this hex and find this airbase, you can see that this airbase is generating 148 airbase points. And in this hex, currently, our air units are using 18 airbase points. So you can see here in the hex information that airbase points required are 18 and airbase points available 160. This is also important because over time, if you will cross this number, you will have negative penalty for the readiness of your air units that are operating from this airbase. So what we can do now? The first thing would be to use our recon unit. So this very simple recon and how we can perform any air actions. In the map mode, so the third button on the right, you can see there are some actions like air attack, air recon, or air bridge. So those 3 actions can be performed by any unit, or you can access them by right-clicking on the hex. We have the same options here. So let's do the air recon mission first, because we don't know where are our enemies. So you can see that the range of our unit is quite big. In this case, the range is visible here, 12 hex. So it's quite a nice range. And we can select the hex where we can perform recon mission. Let's uncover the area somewhere here. So in this hex and all hexes around. So I can also attach our fighter, because fighter also can help with air recon mission, but I don't want to do this now. Let's do the mission. You can see that we have 0 recon points in this hex from 400 possible.
Birds are in the sky.
There is quick simulated battle, but we received 90 recon points in this hex. So you can see in the text information that we executed a recon mission with 30 recon points, but we have 3 subunits, so we received 90 recon points in that hex, but not only in that hex, but also in the nearby hexes. So here you can see we have recon 90, but here we have 31, and here we have 20. This recon mission could give us quite interesting information that here there is some hex perk. In this case, this is trade point, and here there are some enemy units and also another hex perk which will give us energy. So this is very important information. And now we can move a bit closer to those units, and then maybe we'll be able to use our tactical bombers. But you can see that tactical bomber range is too short to reach those units, because if we click on the unit, you can see that the range is 7 hex. So not very good. And I cannot move this unit here to be closer and next round attack. I need operate only from the airbase. Only helicopter could do this. So move here, attack from this location. But the readiness of helicopter will be a bit decreased. But only helicopters and copters can do this because they are VTOL units, which means vertical takeoff and landing. So now we know how to execute the air recon mission using our recon aircraft. And let's try to design our own recon aircraft. So we go to Manage, Blueprints. You can see that here on the list we'll see all types that we have discovered using our Model Design Council. So I can have ultralight aircraft, light aircraft, medium, and if you go to blueprints, you can have ultralight aircraft, light, medium, and light helicopter. So all types are here, and each type is heavier than the other. So the heavier type means that the airport level should be also higher. Maybe let's go back to the map and talk about airport level, because if we find, as you can see, that our airbase has level 3, because we have constructed 3 levels of this airbase. And now if we compare it with the number visible here on the bottom of the image of our aircraft, you can see Roman number 3. That means that this airplane can operate only from airports of level 3. In case of our fighter, this plane can operate from airports of level 2, and our Recon can operate with any airport because here we can see number 1. This is also very important. So let's say you have built your great tactical bomber, which is a medium aircraft, and you have only airport level 1, then you need to wait few rounds to build level 2 and level 3 until you will be able to even build this unit, because you cannot rise a new formation on airport level 1 which has a minimum requirement higher than 1. Then this unit will not appear in the list of available formations here. So if you are wondering why you cannot find some units here, it's because the level on this hex of the airbase is too small compared to the minimum required level of this unit. And also if you click on the card, you can find here airbase minimum level 3. Let's go back to design. So let's do some simple recon unit. On the screen, you can see multiple sections, and the first one we already talked about, the role. So we select recon, but the rest are quite interesting. The most important are engine, wingspan, and fuel tank. Those three will determine how far we can fly. So what will be the range of our unit? And usually, the more fuel we can get, the greater the range. So let's increase, for example, to 250. You can see that the range increased to 5, 7, 8 hexes, and here decreased. So why, if I am increasing the fuel from 800 to 1200 liters, the range decreased. And here, if I have much less, the range is higher. Because please notice that this number, weight, also is changing. So this is 1300 kilograms. And if I add bigger tank, it increased by 200 kilograms. And compared to our engine power, this is not enough, so we are reducing the range. Designing aircraft is art of balancing those three sections and find the good balance between weight and engine power and also wingspan. But why we don't see here wingspan? Because the wingspan will affect how easy is to our plane take off from the ground, so how much lift we are receiving based on the current air pressure in our planet. And engine is giving us power to fight with the gravity also. So the more gravity, the more the weight will be a problem. So the stronger the engine should be and the higher the air pressure, then the easier will be to our plane, increasing the wingspan to take off from the ground. So to take off from the ground, the second number need to be higher than this first number. So this is the minimum speed that our airplane needs to have to be able to fly. But in some cases, it's hard to achieve it. The second number you can increase by adding a heavier engine. So in this case, you can see 400 kilometers. So the heavier engine, I can get more speed because there is more power compared to the weight. Of course, the gravity is not helping us. If you will have high gravity planet, it will be much more difficult and you will need much more power of your engine. But instead of increasing engine power, I can decrease. You can see the first number. I can increase the wingspan, so to 5 meter long. And please look at this first number. So from 198, I can decrease this number to 134. So a lot, because the higher the pressure in the planet, the more the wingspan will decrease the minimum takeoff speed. So the easier will be to take off from the ground. So you need to balance the wingspan, engine, and check the weight, and also add the fuel tank, but fuel tank also is increasing weight. Also wingspan, the bigger wingspan, the bigger the weight. So please notice that in this case, the weight was 1,710, and here 30 kilograms more, because this is very ultralight aircraft, but in medium or heavy airplane, the wings are very heavy. So in this case, if I will increase much more, so the range is increasing, but also now we have nearly 2 tons of weight compared to 1.7 tons. So the very small wing is adding 300 kilograms more to our weight, but still the air pressure is good enough to give us a better range. But we can check if this will be still valid if we increase much more. No, we can see in this case the benefits of the wingspan are lower than the increased weight of this wing compared to the engine power, so we reduced our range. We need to find a good balance between engine power, weight, and the wingspan compared to the air pressure and gravity of our planet. So how we can know if the air pressure is on our planet good for longer wingspans, or what kind of engine we should select? And for that we have a dedicated report. If we go to the map, then to reports, help, and planet statistics overview, if we scroll to the bottom of this report, here you can see there is advice regarding what kind of engine we should use for our aircraft. And in this case, the advice is that we should use light engines, which can be of two types, light propeller engine and light jet engine. So if you go back, you can see that we have here ultralight, but here we have light. So the game suggests that we should use light propeller engine or maybe light jet engine. Those two are suggested by the game. You can see like how the range increased up to 25. So this is quite a good help from the game to avoid a lot of checks on our side. But if we go back, scroll a little here, there is information about planetary gravity and atmospheric density, which are also crucial for our design, especially the atmospheric density impacts the effectivity of the wingspan, so how big the lift we can get from the surface of the wings, and the gravity, so how much the weight of everything that we are adding will impact our engine power. So the higher gravity, the more engine power we need for the same weight of our equipment. 0.6 G. So on Earth we have 1 G, and here is 60% of Earth gravity, and atmospheric density is 86%. What does it mean? It's computed from if you go to geology, here in the description, you can see that the planet atmosphere air pressure is 859 millibars, and we can round it to 860. That's why here you can see 86%, because this is percent from 1000 millibars, because the assumption in this game is that the 100% of atmospheric density will be 1000 millibars, which means 1 bar. So to compare those two numbers, the atmospheric density would be also good to have as a decimal, so you can treat it as 0.8 or 9, and then we can compare those two numbers. So the lower the gravity, the higher the range, because the weight is less problematic for engine, and the higher the air pressure, then the better for our wingspans to have a better lift and to take us to a longer distance. So if there is low air pressure, it's also hard for our airplanes to take off and reach a longer distance. And here you can see benchmark tables that might help you to estimate potential range of your air forces based on the gravity and atmospheric pressure, or the density if you like. So those tables are comparing different engine models, different wingspans and different fuel tanks, and you can see what is the typical range in that conditions. But of course, it does not take into account the bomb hatch, rockets, or other conditions or other modifications that you will apply. But it can be a good indicator if you would like to guess how effective particular settings can be on your planet. I will put a link into the description because this was published as PDF on Matrix forum to discuss potential improvements to benchmark air forces introduced in beta version of Shadow Empire. And in general, for helicopters, so any VTOL based aircraft, to even be able to fly, the density need to be higher than the gravity. So if here we would have below 60% of density, then we could forget about building any helicopters or topters because they will never fly. They will never be able to take off. So remember that if the atmospheric density needs to be higher than the gravity to even think about building helicopters. So on a planet with low air pressure, this section would have much less impact on the minimum takeoff. And if there will be high gravity, then the weight of the wings, the weight of the fuel tank, and the even weight of the engine will be problematic. And then we would need to have much more powerful engine. I know maybe it sounds complicated, but this is how it works. So what we can do here to increase our range, we can increase maybe a bit power, but you see that it's not changing the range. It changed on the takeoff ground speed, but we need only 100, so changing it more doesn't affect the range too much, because you need to remember that the light engine in the report was only a recommendation to have optimal range and fuel efficiency, but we still can play a bit and try to increase or decrease the engine and try to min-max what the game recommends. But if we increase much more, the engine power is now 600, so compared to the weight, we were able to increase a bit by 4 hexes. So now we have 20 hexes. But of course, why here we have suddenly 14? Because the weight is too big compared to the power. Because on this planet we have 0.6 gravity. So maybe if it would be 0.3, it would be less impactful. So not always the heavier engine is the better, same as here and same as for the fuel tank. We need to find a good balance. Where is the red line where you should stop increasing the engine power? But if I change here the engines, I can still try to play with maybe bigger fuel tank. You can see that now we are not decreasing anything. Here, not available. Why? Because we have too much weight. Because the fuel tank, to contain that amount of fuel, we are heavily increasing the weight. You can see it in the tooltip. So here we have 3000 weight, and here we have 1200. So that's why we cannot increase range by adding more fuel. Let's check, maybe no. So you can see 20 hex. This is very good range and with a little cost of the oil. But one information, if you have turboprop technology, this variant of propeller engine is better, much more efficient. So this turbo version has the same stats, but higher engine power. So if I will use more engine power with the same weight, I will increase the range to 25 this time. Please notice that increasing it further doesn't change the range. So 25 is the optimal number with that engine because we increase a bit engine power by 50 points more. So now maybe let's check. No, this is not helping. But if I decreased the wingspan, still we have 25. But here is 14. So you can see I could a bit decrease the wingspan, still having the high range. And now I can even decrease the fuel tank. You can see Only here this range is decreasing, so fuel tank 500 milliliters is enough to fly such long distance because this kind of engine is very effective regarding fuel consumption. So 0.2 per each hex, and here we had 0.4, so it's 2 times more effective in our case. That's why we can get with us less fuel, which means less weight, which means longer range with more powerful engine. So this turboprop engine is quite good upgrade. And the next sections for Recon, they are not very important. I'm not sure if I would even add any weapon. Sometimes they are increasing weight. We can try. You can see we decrease by 5 hex the range. I would not add any weapon because this Recon will avoid any dogfighting, but please notice that the dogfight is 26, so not bad as for the Recon. So he could even protect himself in case of a dogfight. Maybe we need to consider to add something. But now the dogfight decreased because the engine power compared to weight is lower. But if we increase the fuel tank to 800, now we restored our optimal range and we have also some protection. So we increase the air attack to 57, but dogfight is 20 because we also increase the weight. So probably we would have no chances with any fighter. So I will remove that and restore to previous value. We don't need any bombs because this will be more for the tactical bomber or fighter bomber role, or even level bomber, and cargo it's mainly for the transport role. So we have our great Recon plane, and we can also rename it. Here you can add a name like Long Range Recon. And please remember that this name is only name of the blueprint. It will not show as the name of your units. This name will be only selected by the Model Design Council when you would like to build a new model of ultralight aircraft. So if we call our Model Design Council, then if we select a new model of ultralight aircraft, we have an option to select a brand new design or build on existing design, and decision between those two is mainly based on the structural design of your model, but please watch the video about model design if you would like to learn more. In our case, you can see here, this is the name that of our blueprint, so we can use our blueprint to give an instructions to people who will build this airplane what specifications we would like to have, and we will select to build on top of the existing because it's cheaper. Here is the final verdict. So are we sure? If this is green, it means that this is fine.
Yes, sir.
I have played few rounds and now we know who is hiding here. Those are mutants and they have very low defense. So maybe we could even try to use air attack on them if they are not hiding in forest. In this case, this unit is in ruins, so they are somehow protected, but this unit is in the open terrain. So we can even use our recon units because they have 48 soft attack and 48 is higher than their defense. So we have quite big chance that we might even destroy some of them. So let's check. So right click on the unit. This time we will perform air attack mission. You can see game highlighted possible hexes where we can perform such action in range of our unit. And as we have very good range, we can see even here we could do that action. And let's attack this unit by right clicking on it. Now we can also add our fighters to this action. So let's do it because fighters also had a small amount of soft attack. So the odds are positive, 3 to 1. Maybe it will be successful attack. Let's check.
On the way.
There are more than 3 rounds of fighting because the recon missions have only 3 rounds and normal air attack has 10 rounds of fighting. And you can see that we have many kills and mainly the kills were done by the recon unit. So if we check in the details, you can see that Here, for example, our attack was 48 and their defense, so the green triangle, was 30. Also, we had modification from experience, and our SHQ commander also gave the modification, because here you can see 13% from SHQ commander. So at the end, we had nearly 60 attack, and the defense was decreased because of the lower readiness, but then restored because of the experience, but still 99, nearly 30. So we had nearly double their defense. So that's why we had high chance to hit and even kill somebody. Very good attack. So now we need to expand north and check what will be here, and if we can use our air forces to take this area, to help to take this area. Also here, I have started the building, which is the airbase level 1, because I expect that we might need our air forces here, because the range is not big enough to reach this area from our capital. We will see. But let's try to design now light aircraft that will be used for the transportation, because I would like to have one light transport that is able to pick some supply just in case to reach the new airport. So in this case, let's try with the light propeller engine, maybe tiny or very small wings, increase the fuel tank, try to increase as much as we can. So here it stopped, so I go back, maybe increase the engine. We see only by one. So we need to decide what cargo space would be needed. I would go with 3,000 kilograms, because this is quite big cargo, and it will be 30 logistical points per subunit, so 90 logistical points in case of Airbridge missions. But the range decreased a lot, so we need to get some better engine, maybe this medium turbopropel engine, and now increase the fuel tank. 7, 9, 10, and 10 is the limit, but check to maybe try to play with wings. Oh, wings also are helping, so 14. And now a bit increase the engine, so 16 hex range. So maybe we can even increase cargo to 5,000 and decrease the fuel tank to reduce the weight, but still the range is too low. So I will decrease the cargo to 3,000 and increase the engine to very heavy. So 16 hex range is very good for transport. This is light transport. Why I am building light transport? Because I have low level of air bases. So medium will require third level, and this one requires second level of air base. So I need to increase the airbase level, but not as much as in this case. And in case of heavy aircraft, it would be fourth level required. So you need to take that into account. So we can rename this for light transport. And now we can go to the light aircraft and here select this new model, select built on top of the existing Phoenix. So our fighter, so we are using on the same model, but for different role, and confirm.
Yes, sir.
So we will have, just in case, one transport to go from this airbase to this airbase and provide some supplies or units. I have played few rounds. I moved some units here, and I see two minor regimes. One is we are at war with, and the second one is we have peace, but soon we will be at war also with them. Probably their town is here. And I'm building here another level of airbase, so second level. And I notice interesting element. I received this unit. This is Galactic Republic grade infantry, so very strong defense, soft defense, and even hard defense. Very good hit points. So I could use them as a special commando force to send them behind enemy lines and cut that potential enemy from the supplies. Because I noticed one interesting element, that the weight of this unit is only 14 logistical points. So if I would build some light helicopters to send this unit back to this road, I could cut enemy from the supply if this will be a war soon. So let's do this. manage, and go to light helicopter. And we need only transport helicopter to send our commando unit. Let's check different options here. We need cargo, but how many cargo we need? There will be 3 helicopters, and with 8 logistical points, we'll have 24. That would be enough because the weight is 14, but also we have here militia with weight 62. So maybe we can build something that could also take militia unit. And so let's increase it to 1200. So we will have 12 logistical points multiplied by 3 subunits. It will be 36 logistical points. So 2 helicopters should be able to take this whole unit. And our commando and range. Can we increase range by adding some? No, we cannot. So I think they can have some weapon. Why not? But now the range decreased. But if we increase also the engine, we compensate that, so we can even get the maximum possible heavy machine gun. So that's why the air attack will be 171, which is quite good value. And dogfight is 28. So this helicopter can protect himself and our units that will be flying on it. So let's do it. Okay, I have played some rounds and now we have produced our helicopters. So you can see that they can carry 12 logistical points and they have a role transporter. Also in the same field we have our commando unit and we have currently war with this minor regime. So what we can do? You can see that they are hiding in the forest. Our tanks will be a problem with attacking forest. So I can select my light helicopters, right click, and now we'll perform Airbridge mission. So from this airport, I will establish a connection with this crossroad here because it's protected from every side by water and river is giving us eventual positive bonus if somebody will try to attack this unit. So this is the best hex for me to put our commando later, and I also can cut those 2 roads and these guys from supply. So let's right click. Now we have symbol that Airbridge mission will be established next round. So the color changed to black, which means we have a proper connection. You can also check it in logistical network, the current points. You can see this number. Here we have 36 logistical points from this hex. So we have here some supply and air connection. Now I can go to the commando unit and click not move but strategic move, and you can see some hexes were highlighted and one of them is here, and there is a special icon representing Airbridge mission, and if I right click I will be able to move this unit because the weight is 14 and I have on the bottom you can see here that the weight is 14 and the available size is 36 because this is what we computed when we were designing the cargo of our transport helicopter. So now I right click and we have dropped using helicopters our commando unit here, and those guys now will have a problem and we'll see what they will do. So you can see they panicked and retrieved to the positions where they have any supply. So this road now our tanks can be used and take this road and move forward. And they couldn't even attack this unit because it's too strong. So instead of fighting in the forest, we could use one tiny helicopter and one tiny unit to change the shape of the front line to our favor. Also, I would like to build some nice level bomber to attack their main 2 cities from this airport or maybe even from our capital. We'll see what are the possibilities. So in the meantime, our model design council discovered heavy aircraft model type, and we can try to build some level bomber. So for this role will be useful because they are flying on high altitude and it's hard to hurt them. And we need maybe start with some better engines and some better fuel tank, and we will like to have, let's start with 5,000 kilogram of bombs. Of course the wings need to be longer to give us more lift. So you can see that the takeoff speed is higher than our ground speed. So we need to have more lift to be able to reduce the takeoff speed. Now we reduce it, but still the range is very limited. So do it more because this is very big bomber. Maybe increase the engine and fuel tank. No. So maybe increase the wingspan. No. So maybe use the heavy turbopropeller engine. So maybe very heavy turbopropeller engine. Because this aircraft has two engines and I need to use two very heavy engines, and you can see 14 hex range, maybe super heavy. No, it doesn't change too much, but the wingspan is quite big. We can play a bit. Even you can see if I get the largest wingspan, I have 16 hex range. And maybe let's try, and with 5,000 kilograms, we have soft attack 500, nearly 600. So increase the bomb hatch to 10,000 kilograms. Now our soft attack would be 1,500. That would be great attack for their city and 14 hex range. So if we increase the engine more and increase the fuel tank, you can see 16, 25. We managed to have 25 with the heaviest turbopropeller engine, and we can deliver them 10,000 kilograms of bombs. So this will be executor. But we can also add for this heavy aircraft, you can see there is a new type of anti-air-to-air weapon, which is called cupola. It's adding some special places in our plane for the anti-aircraft gun. And we can add even two of them. So one in the bottom, one on the top. It's very nice that the images are changing if you are changing any settings. So I like it very much. Please notice that I can even have lower. You can see I can decrease a lot the wingspan. Large would be enough. And what we can have here, air attack is 86, so maybe increase it to the heaviest one. High-speed heavy machine gun cupola. So we have now 257 air attack. But with this dogfight, we cannot do much. But you can see with that range and that amount of bombs, 10 tons of bombs and quite good protection, this plane can protect himself. Oh, it's very good. Rename it. Heavy level bomber. Very good. And we go to the Model Design Council. You can see my Model Design Council was busy and was discovered all possible model types for heavy aircraft. And here we have heavy level bomber. We can build on top of on existing. So we have designed our heavy level bomber. You can see it. Very nice. Please notice what happened. Enemy forces appeared from nowhere and cut our North Army from the supplies. So they taken this road. So now if I go to the current points, you can see that the logistics are ending here and the units that are here simply are dying. They are starving, they have nothing to eat, no supplies, and it's very bad situation. But here we have our airbase. So what we can do in that situation, we can move the units back. They will not fight very well because they don't have supplies. I can move other units here, or I can quickly use this transport aircraft that I created before. So the Phoenix 2, which has 30 logistical points, and we have 3 subunits, so it should be 90 logistical points. And the range is 16 hex. So now if I will establish an Airbridge from this airport to, you can see this airport is highlighted. So I can establish here Airbridge mission because I can do this only on air bases. Helicopters can do it anywhere, and transport aircraft can do this only between airports. And let's see if that will help. So we are in the next round. Still the road is cut. Here enemy moved closer to this location, but we can see the blue rectangles. If we inspect our units, you can see that they receive some supplies. They receive food, they receive even some fuel. All of the units are saved from starvation, so next round the status should improve because of this triangle. And if you check the used points, map logistic layer, you can see that they were all requesting, using their operational logistics, the supplies from this hex. And here you can see the number. We have 90 logistical points in that hex. So exactly the amount that our transport aircraft can provide here from this hex. You can see here there is also 90 because they are requesting it not from here, but they are requesting it here in reality. So this is example that transport aircraft can help us in some corner case situations, like we are cut from the main road, or we need to send over the sea some supplies to units, for example here. But here I don't have any airbase, so only helicopters could help this unit. Or even topters, because topters are a better variant of helicopters. They have jet engines and can carry more weight. I can try to move my helicopters here. And this unit move here. They are hungry, not dying, so maybe I could quickly build topters. We could try to use light topters, because heavy medium topters we need also high tech, and we don't have high tech resource. Let's do them. Let's give them some heavy jet engine, some fuel. You can see range is 20. We need cargo space, quite big cargo space to evacuate militia unit. I'm not sure if they will be able to use 8,000 kilograms. No, because this is more than their maximum weight. So medium jet engine, 5,000. So we are on at the edge of the maximum weight, because the heavier the model type, the more it can increase the maximum weight. So we cannot put very heavy elements on some light frameworks of our aircraft. So in this case, 5,000, so it will be 150 logistical points. So we will need probably 2 topters like that and 7 hex range and type transport. Let's try. So we need to find light topter, and this second one is transport with medium jet.
Yes, sir.
I should make them fast. And to help our units with those guys, we can use the level bomber unit. Let's try. So do the air attack. You can see what's the odds.
On the way. Returning to base, sir.
Could be better. They lost some readiness, but I was expecting more. We could use also our fighters. And they can attack from here. So let's check. They are using only machine guns because they don't have any bombs or rockets.
Returning to base, sir.
But they killed one. And their readiness decreased a lot. So always something. Sometimes can help also with land units. But usually, regarding fighters, they should protect your sky. So if enemy will have any airplanes and they will perform nearby some bombardment, for example, if they will have airplanes and they will attack my units here, fighters can protect the sky in their operational range. So currently their range is 16 hex, so they can protect nearly the whole zone. And to allow the intercepting of enemy air forces, you need to select the unit of fighters, go to unit administration, and here you can change those options. So currently I will never engage into intercepting enemy air forces, but here I can say that if my readiness is higher than 75, this unit should also try to fight with enemy air forces. I can even do this like that because those are fighters, so why not update? And now if you click here in this button HQ power, you can see that here there's information that we intercept at 50 readiness. So currently my readiness is 90. So if I click end round and during the enemy round somebody will perform any air operations in the range of those fighters, they will try to engage them and fight with them. So fighters are very good to protect the sky. Please also notice how much ammo consumption I had last round and fuel consumption. It's because we were level bombing using our level bombers. So this is heavy aircraft, and if you go to the operational cost, you can see that they are consuming 2,700 ammo and movement cost is 180. So if you fly long distances and perform heavy bombing, you can expect a really big decrease in those two resources. Okay, so the situation evolved. We are close to their city. They are hiding in the ruins. So we need to know better what's the situation. So let's do some recon mission in this hex.
Birds are in the sky.
So we got 232 recon. Great. Now we know more who they are and how many enemies are here. And now we can use our level bomber, this time air attack. They are in our range. Target the city and drop the bombs.
Bombs away. Returning to base, sir.
So maybe not many losses in their army, but you can see here that we also added 924 damage to the assets in this hex. So we damage farming community, transport hub, and damage transport hub will probably have less efficiency. Even museum, which is unfortunate. And they add entrenchment drop from 125 to 39, and their readiness is half of their initial value. So yeah, it was quite good preparation for other units to fight. Also, in our airport, we have our initial tactical bomber with range 7 hex, but we can, as we improve this airport, we can now use normal move, not the strategic move, because it would be too heavy, but normal move, so it can fly to this airport. So next round, this unit can also help because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be in the range of our tactical bomber. Here I would like to show you a design of medium helicopter, and I name it medium helicopter tank killer, and it's using medium rockets, and rockets are good for hard targets. So we have 530 hard attack, and a range 7 hex could be better, but if you have some problems with enemy tanks, helicopters plus rockets can be a good solution. And then in this case the role is tactical bomber, or maybe we could also change it to fighter bomber if we would like to engage with enemy aircraft, because we have dogfight 25, air attack 130, but we can increase it also. And I developed recently the air-to-air missiles, so we can even add the air-to-air missiles, and now we would have 160 of attack, and this helicopter could be good against enemy aircraft and against enemy hard targets. And one point that if there is a fight in the air and you have only machine gun, in the first round you have minus 100% modifier. So in the first round, the machine gun has too short range to be able to shot to the distant target. In the second round, when targets are closer, we have minus 90%, but depending on the machine gun, here is minus 80, here is minus 70. So in the second round of air fight, there is some possibility to hit enemy. And then in the third round, then there is a dogfight. And then the machine gun can be fully used and the dogfight is happening as a big modifier. But if we have light missiles, so you can see in the first round minus 30%. So if enemy don't have any air-to-air missiles, we have 2 rounds where we can hit them from long distance and they cannot hit back. So this is missiles are really good if you would like to have advantage in the air fighting. So before any dogfight, we can simply launch air-to-air missiles. So now, if I would go to the light aircraft and I would like to make some jet engine with better wings and add medium air-to-air missiles, some fuel tank, and a role fighter. You can see we have quite advanced fighter which has 228 air attack and have zero modifications in the first 2 rounds of fighting. From the long distance we can shoot any less advanced aircraft without risking a dogfight, because our dogfight in this case is quite low, but we can increase it a bit if we increase also the power of the jet engine. So 21, 29 is probably maximum. And by increasing a bit our wings, we have 30, 31 will be maximum dogfight, but I think it's not sure if this is worth it. So let's stay with that. No, but yeah, it's worth it because the range is 20 then. So we will have longer range fighter, which have medium air-to-air missiles. Oh, you can add also some medium rockets for ground targets. And now we have 680 heart attack, 270 air attack, some decent dogfighting, and in the first 2 rounds, no modificators for our fight. So please compare with the first design. This fighter has -100 and -100 because it can use only some twin heavy machine gun. So you can see that this or even this fighter would have problems to fight with us because in the first 2 rounds we could shot it down. So let's try to build a heavy helicopter. In this case, we would like to have very big cargo space. We don't need the rockets. We need some decent fuel tank. So you can see that the maximum cargo we can get is 8,000 kilograms, which is quite good. It would be 240 logistical points, but the range is very limited. So probably I would go with 5K. But we can see that this design is simply too heavy for the current planetary conditions. So helicopters are not the best here, because if we have transport planes, we can use wingspan to help us. And in this case, the rotors are not enough in this air pressure to gravity ratio. So that's why even the heaviest helicopter is less efficient than our medium aircraft transport that can take 18K without any problems because of the wingspan. And here example of extra heavy aircraft type. In this case, it's transport. And you can see that I managed to have maximum range 25 hex and cargo space 40,000 kilograms. And such design simply have the very big maximum weight and also can have very big wings. So in my case, this is very helpful. And they have 4 engines, very huge aircraft. This aircraft can transport tank battalions without any problem. And in next round, you can see still our ammunition is heavily decreasing. But let's do some recon because they are still hiding.
On the way!
It's good to do recon before any other airstrikes or even before any other fight.
Returning to base, sir.
So 172 recon. And now tactical bomber that we sent last round can perform tactical bombing.
On the way! Returning to base, sir.
It was quite effective because they are operating on lower altitude. But now we can finalize what we have started. So perform final bombardment from high altitude.
On the way!
They have worse readiness after the previous attacks, so we have
Returning to
some
base, sir.
kills. But also here in the messages we can see that 900 population was killed, previously 2000, and another 840 damage to the assets. So interesting. And here we can even preview their status of the assets. So the red line representing the amount of damage they have. And you can see Scout Station, Transport Hub. You can see they have 295 damage and it's not operable because at 200 damage, the asset is simply shut down, so they don't have this transport hub. So I expect that they will have some problems with logistics. And we can also finalize this round with some rockets, because rocket launcher has range 2, so we can also do range attack and fire some rockets.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
And what we did, oh, a lot of population killed and 700 of damage. So they don't have good situation currently in this city. So now our tanks and infantry can move here and attack together.
Weapons free.
They don't have much to
Operation
say,
successful.
and the city is ours. I forgot to mention one element, that to perform successful missions, it will be wise to have new air operational headquarters. This headquarter is similar to the normal OHQ, but it's for air units, and we can build it only in the hex where we have zone city. So let's build new air operational headquarter. Now you can see we have unit, but we don't have commander, and next round we'll be able to nominate a commander. We are in next round, and here you can see unit decisions, new commander for the first air command. So we can select somebody, and the set of skills for air commander will be much different than the tank tactics or infantry tactics. There will be a different variety of skills like air tactics, air offensives. You can check in the documentation. So let's appoint.
Copy that.
But this is not enough. We need to assign units to this air operational headquarters. So we select our unit, go to unit administration, change headquarter, and now you can see this is option first air command. So we assign a unit. We can assign up to 8 units in this mode. It's similar to auxiliary units, but normally we have limit only to 2, and in case of air units we can assign 8 units. I can assign all of my units to the air command, including helicopters. So everyone now is assigned. And in the order of battle, if we check, you can see that we have 5 units assigned to the commander. So let's try to attack this nearby unit. And you can see that both commanders now appeared. So strategic command is always present, and this operational commander will be slowly learning new skills. So you can see that he managed to get a ground attack, and it will be helping coordinating aircraft to strike ground targets. So slowly air commanders will gain new skills relevant to what they are doing. Also, please notice that this unit, you can see, is out of headquarter power, so the commander will not helping that unit during the fight. So best would be to use the strategic movement to move the air operational command closer to your front line. And now you can see that we have 100 and now we have 100. So this is also important. So now I can attack those rebels. Some of my units rebelled against me, so I can use the air attack. And now the commander is helping me. He need to learn a lot, but
Returning to base, sir.
such actions are giving him experience. And for example, helicopters. You can see this helicopter is out of the airport. I can move this helicopter to a different hex and attack. So helicopters are special because they can move not only between airports, but in any hex in their range. And the readiness is important for helicopter because it is affecting its efficiency. So now I can attack using this helicopter after I moved and attack the rebel units.
On the way. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
And regarding designs, please use the air design section. You can see here the operational range and the cargo capacity, also which airbase level this unit can operate. So this is quite important when you plan your actions. And in the operational cost is also important to see the usage of the ammo. So for example, your level bomb is 2700, so quite big numbers, and move oil. And the production cost also check. Helicopters will use machinery and topters will require high-tech parts. So this is for each subunit. So if you have 3 subunits, you will need to have 3 high-tech parts in your SHQ. And in this case, 6 machinery. So they are quite expensive. And helicopters can do the same work, but cannot have jet engines. So, if you can afford, better to use topters, but if you don't have those resources, then better to have a helicopter. And in the meantime, our Model Design Council discovered all possible types, maybe except this extra heavy aircraft on the bottom, and heavy helicopter. But in my case, I don't have a big use of those heavy models in this planet. Mainly the medium aircraft and light aircraft and light helicopter. You need to adjust the air forces to your planet and to your needs and to your strategic objectives, because we design the models to achieve some strategic objectives. Remember, this small light helicopter was designed to move the small units, commando units, behind the enemy lines. And this big one was designed to simply bomb and destroy enemy infrastructure and people in their city. And this helicopter was designed to attack enemy tanks. So if you check the design, you can see that the heart attack was very high for this model. Don't produce everything, but produce with specific goal. And for transport aircraft, I don't see many use cases, and it mainly depend on the geography. They are fine to access areas when you cannot connect zones using roads, or if the amount of logistical points on the roads is not enough. So then they could be fine. But because they operate from the air bases, it's really hard to make common use of them. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please check other videos in the playlist and enjoy building your air forces.